Today we are going to study about the dual nature of the matter waves. Einstein suggested that the wave has got a particle nature, right? Or it can behave as a matter wave. On the same basis, on the same platform, de Broglie suggested that if a wave can behave as a matter, right, then why not a matter can behave as a wave? So he just gave the relationship also between the wavelength which will be associated by the material while it is in motion, right, to that of its mass and the velocity of its motion. So here we are going to discuss or derive the relation which the de Broglie has done between the wavelength associated with the matter waves, right? And the de Broglie, we can say the wave concept, right, is considered to be as a matter wave. So we have got the waves, electromagnetic waves, and we have got the matter wave. Electromagnetic wave are the waves associated with electromagnetic radiations, whereas the matter wave are the wave associated with the material which is in motion. Right. So here we are going to derive the relation. It is in the same way as the Einstein did. So we are going to use here the first is the Planck's equation. Planck's quantum theory, right? That is E equals to h nu. This is the first equation. Then from the Einstein equation, we have E equals to mc square. This is the second equation. So we are going to just equate these two equations, or we can write that from equation 1 and equation 2, right? We will get h nu equals to mc square here. Now, how are these related here? This is mc square, so here it is h nu. This is the frequency, and you know that the frequency wavelength is equal to c here. So when we put this value here, so we will get h equal into lambda. Sorry, frequency value will be c upon lambda. So it will become then mc square. So from here C is going to cancel out. So we will get here h upon lambda is equal to mc, or we can write here lambda equals to h upon mc. Right. So this is the equation which was given by the Einstein, where he has related the wavelength of the photon, right, with its mass of the photon and the velocity of the photon. Now, de Broglie has just replaced the velocity c of the light or the radiation of the photon with the velocity of the particle, right, by v. So small v will be the velocity of particle, right? So here this is lambda equals to h upon mv, right? Or we know that momentum is equals to m into v. So we can write down lambda equals to h upon p. It means here that the momentum related with the matter wave or related with the particle is inversely related to the wavelength. Or you can say here that the mass of the particle, right, material particle, is inversely related to the wavelength. So smaller is the mass, greater is going to be the wavelength which will be associated with that particle, and if the mass is bigger, the wavelength will be less, and if the mass of that particle is more or is less, it will be more wavelength associated with it, right? So this was a relation which was given by the de Broglie, and this equation is known as the de Broglie wave equation. right, equation. So lambda is equal to h upon mv. So here we can also relate the wavelength associated with the matter wave with the energy also, right? So how we can do it? So we know that energy is equal to half mv square. So particle energy will be equals to half will be kinetic energy of it, half mv square here, right? So we are going to multiply on each side, both sides with the m here. So it will become in this way. It is m square v square. So here we'll do it in this way. So it will become twice E multiplied by m. So E is denoting here the energy of the particle with which it is moving, showing the motion, and is the small m is the mass of the particle here. So student, here it will become then mv square is equal to twice into m, right? Or mv will be equal to under root twice em, right? So mv will be equal to under root 2 into e into m here. So we know that lambda de Broglie wave equation, lambda is equal to h upon mv. So in place of mv, we will write down under root 2 em. So it will become lambda equals to h upon under root 2 e into m. So students, just by knowing the value of the wavelength, right, associated with the particle, Planck's constant, we know the value, and the mass of the particle, we can determine the energy associated with the particle in motion. Students, now next is the derivation of the Bohr's postulate through the de Broglie equation. Now the which postulate we are talking about, that is the quantization of the angular momentum of an electron when it is moving in a particular orbit. We know that one of the postulate of Bohr's model was that only those orbits will be permissible for an electron while moving in which its angular momentum will be integral multiple of h upon 2 pi, right? So whenever an electron is moving in a definite path, now the electron, we now come to know that the electron, while it is in motion, right? So it will be producing the wave, or a wave will be associated, or wavelength will be associated while electron is moving in a circular orbit around the nucleus, as according to the de Broglie's theory. Now here, when the electron is moving in a particular orbit, the wave associated can be either in phase or it can be out of phase. Now what we mean by in phase and out phase? Now every orbit will have got a circumference of it, right? That is 2 pi r. Now the wavelength, right? That will be covered while moving in the particular orbit, right? It will be n into lambda, right? That should be equal to the circumference of that orbit. Now if this is the case, then the wave which is being produced when electron is moving in a particular orbit will be known as the in phase, and when it is not equal, it will be known as the out of phase. Now just have a look on the diagram here. What I mean to say here, that the first diagram is the wave which is in phase. This is the wave in phase. Now here this is the wave which has been produced by the electron. So if we assume that this is the path or the circular orbit around the nucleus in which the electron is moving, right? Then the path traveled. Now the wavelength, you know, this is the wavelength associated, that is distance between the two successive crests or between the two successive trough will be known as a wavelength. So when it is moving, it will be having a number of wavelengths associated with it. Now the wave will be taken to be in phase when the circumference of that orbit will become equal to n into lambda, right? Now this is the second case where it is wave which is out of phase. The wave produced by the electron or associated electron is out of phase. Here you can see that the wavelength is not getting completed, it is just intersecting here. In this case, the 2 pi r will not be equal to n into lambda. Now, how we are going to come to the conclusion, that is the quantization of the angular momentum. Now, I think this is clear that when we are going to say the electron wave is in phase and then it is out of phase, right? So, to derive the Bose concept, right, we will consider that the electron wave is in phase, right? So here we will consider first step, that 2 pi r is equal to n into lambda. Now from de Broglie equation, what we know, that lambda equals to h upon mv, right? So here from this equation we will put the value of lambda in term of r radius, right? So lambda will be now written as 2 pi r upon n equals to h upon mv, right? We are just going to just relate it. This is lambda, it is here 2 pi r upon n, this is h and this is mv. Now when we are just going to arrange it, it will become mvr, this is mv, we are sending it here, this is n coming here, getting h upon 2 pi. We have just rearranged this equation here. So 2 pi will come just below h, it becoming h upon 2 pi. N is here, just getting the multiple of it, and this is mvr. So we are getting mvr equals to n h upon 2 pi. So I hope so you remember this equation, that mvr here is the angular momentum of the electron associated with a particular orbit. It will be only permitted when the angular momentum is going to be the multiple of h upon 2 pi. Here we have quantized the angular momentum. So I think you know what is the quantization, getting a definite value or fixed value for the angular momentum when the electron will be moving in a particular orbit. So in this way we are going to derive the Bose postulate with the help of de Broglie equation. Today we are discussing about the wave and the particle nature, both for the electron or for the material or a particle, right? So we have discussed here the de Broglie wave equation, which gives us the relation between the wavelength associated by the small microscopic particle to that of its mass and the velocity. According to this, if a wave can behave as a particle, then a particle can also have a wave nature. So the de Broglie's equation, right, has got a significance. Now here there's a significance is related or restricted only to the microscopic object. It cannot be applied to the macroscopic or a large size object. Now why is it so? Because the particle, right, has got the fixed position, right? Fixed position is there. Whereas if it gets a wave nature associated with it, that time it will give the restriction to its position, as well as whereas the wave has got the, we can say, is delocalized, right? Whereas the particle position is fixed. If it is moving, we will have it a concrete location of it will be possible to determine. Whereas if it is a wave, that time the wave is delocalized and it is not centralized to a particular place, right? So that's why the de Broglie's equation is restricted only to the microscopic body, where if the mass of the object or the particle is small, then the wavelength associated will be large and it can be traced out. Whereas if the mass of the object is very huge, in that case the wavelength associated with it will be lesser, right? And hence it will not be traced out. So let's see here that how it is going to work. The first is that if we have taken a ball, right? We have taken a ball whose mass is 1 kg and the velocity with which it is moving is 1 meter per second. Then the wavelength associated with this ball will be given by the equation lambda equals to h upon mv, where h is the Planck's constant, m is the mass of the ball, and the v is the velocity with which it is moving. So when we put the value of Planck's constant here, 6.6 to 10 to the power minus 34 kg meter square second inverse, divide by mass of the ball, that is 1 kg, and the velocity with which it is moving is 1 meter per second. So students, when it is solved out, right, we get here 6.62 into 10 to the power minus 34 meter. And then if we change to picometer, we get 6.62 10 to the power minus 22 picometer. So you can see here that the wavelength associated with a ball is 6.62 10 to the power minus 22 here, right? So this is the way associated with the ball, whereas if it consider an electron, which is a microscopic object particle, here the mass associated with it is 9.1 10 to the power minus 31 kg, where the velocity with which the electron is moving is 6.0 10 to the power 6 meter per second. So when we find out the wavelength associated with this electron, we will again find by the de Broglie's equation lambda equal to h upon mv. We'll put the value of the Planck constant, mass of the electron, and the velocity with which it is moving, and we will get 1.21 10 to the power minus 10 meter. So here it is 1.21. So you can just see, or you can compare the value of the wavelength which has been produced by the wave and by the electron due to its motion. You can really see that the electrons, the wavelength associated is of larger magnitude. As a result, what is there? It is 121 picometer, whereas this one is 6.6 to 10 to the power minus 22 picometer. Right? So which one has got a longer wavelength? Definitely the electron wavelength form is more, so it will be more easily traced out. So hence we can say that the ball, right, which is a macroscopic object, right, the wavelength associated will be comparatively very less, and hence it will be acting mainly as a particle, right, whereas the electron which has got the wavelength associated of longer wavelength, right, and is a microscopic object, so microscopic object will show the particle nature also, and the wavelength associated will be significant. So here we can conclude that the de Broglie wave equation or de Broglie wave nature, right, it is significant mainly for the microscopic object. Now students, we are going to experimentally prove or verify the dual nature of the matter waves, right? So for it, we will do it step by step. That is, first we are going to verify the particle wave nature of the electrons, or wave nature of the matter wave. We will consider here the for the matter we are going to assume here the electron, right? So when an electron is being produced, or we can say it is being produced, so the source of electron is there, it can be the tungsten which has been heated, and the electrons are then targeted to the electrode with electric field. Strong electric field will be applied, which is going to accelerate the speed of the beam of electron, right? And then the beam of electrons are made to fall on the nickel metal foil or the nickel crystal, right? And after that, when the beams are then scattered, or we are just obtained on the film or plate, where we get the different rings or a diffraction rings are being obtained, right? Now these rings which have been obtained, they are similar to the X-rays, right? So hence the X-rays have got the wave nature, hence the matter wave or the wave which have been produced from the electrons will have the wave nature. Now just have a look over the experiment here, how it is going to work. So we have got this experiment to prove the wave character of the electrons, right, or of the matter. It was designed by Davison and Germer. They have taken a source of electron here, that is the tungsten metal which has been heated up. Now the beam of electron, it has been passed through the accelerating electrode which has been formed by applying the strong electric field. The electron beam now will be at very high speed. It has increased its speed. It has been, you can see here, then they have been passed through the, here the surface is there where they have been obtained, and we can find here that we will obtain diffraction will take place when this nickel metal foil is being placed on its path, right? And we get a diffraction will take place and we'll get the concentric rings, and these rings are the bright and the dark rings, right? Now these rings are called diffraction ring because they are obtained by the phenomena of diffraction, right? And these resemble, or the pattern is just similar to that of the X-rays, and we know that the X-ray has got a wave nature. Therefore the waves which will be produced or generated from the electrons will have the wave nature. Students, now the wave character was being verified. Now to verify the particle nature of the electron, for it, whenever the electrons are made to fall on the zinc sulfide screen or a photographic plate which has got a coating of zinc sulfide, we'll get a scintillation. For every striking of an electron, we get a dot or a scintillation dot is being obtained, right? This is one evidence to support that the electron has got a particle nature. We can also justify the particle nature of electron that whenever the cathode ray is passing in the discharge tube, has been produced in a discharge tube, and on its path if we place a paddle wheel, what happens? The paddle wheel just turn, right? It starts moving or it just gets turned, and that is only possible when that wave has got a mechanical property, and the mechanical property is related with the particle nature. So here we have just verified the wave nature as well as the particle nature of the electron. So we can conclude that the microscopic particles, or otherwise the matter wave, or we can say the matter, whenever it is moving, it will form the wave will be associated with it, and that wave will be significant if it is a microscopic object. Today we will do the numericals based on the de Broglie relationship, which gives the wavelength, or we can say the wave nature, to the particles or the matter, right? So for that we will follow the general equation of it, a simple equation of it, lambda equals to h upon mv. So just have a look over the numerical here. Calculate the wavelength associated with the electron moving with a velocity of 10 to the power 3 meter per second. The Planck's constant is given to us here. So here we have to find out the lambda which will be associated with the wave which will be produced by the electron, right, when it is moving with a velocity of 10 to the power 3 meter per second. So what things are given to us in the question? Velocity of the moving electron is 10 to the power 3 meter per second. Planck's constant is given to us, and if it is not, then also we know it, that what is the value of it. So h equal to 6.6 10 to the power minus 34 kg meter square second inverse. Now the mass of the electron, it is not given, but you know it. It is 9.1 10 to the power minus 31 kg. Right? Now we will apply here the de Broglie wave equation, that is lambda equals to h upon mv. So here students, lambda we have to calculate out, and other quantities are known to us. So we will just substitute the values in this equation. H value is 6.6 10 to the power minus 34 kg meter square second inverse. Mass is 9.1 10 to the power minus 31 kg, and the velocity is 10 to the power 3 meter per second. So on solving, students will get the answer 7.25 into 10 to the power minus 7 meter. This will be the wavelength which will be associated with the moving electron. Now students will do the next numerical, with which we will going to find out the wavelength when the kinetic energy is given to us. Kinetic energy of the moving electron is known to us, right? Now just have a look on the numerical here. The mass of electron is 9.1 10 to the power minus 31 kg. If its kinetic energy is 3.0 10 to the power minus 25 joule, calculate its wavelength. So student, here in the numerical they have given us mass of electron. If it is not given, then also you now should know about the mass of the electron. You should remember it. It is 9.1 10 to the power minus 31 kg. Whether it is given to you or not, you should know it. Okay, now next is the kinetic energy is given to us is 3 into 10 to the power minus 25 joule. Now to find out the wavelength. First of all, we will write down the quantity which are given to us. Mass is known to us, kinetic energy is also known to us, given to us. So we have to find out the wavelength, right? So we will apply here first the kinetic energy formula, that is half mv square. From here we will calculate out V, because V is not known to us. So V square will be equal to twice into kinetic energy upon mass of the electron. So kinetic energy is known to us, mass is known to us. So we will put the value here. V square equals to 3 into 10 to the power minus 25 into 2 upon 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31. So we will get here V square equal to 659,340. So on just getting under root of it, we will get 812 meter per second. Now once we come to know about the velocity of the moving electron, so we will apply now the de Broglie matter wave equation, de Broglie equation, that is lambda equals to h upon mv, right? So to calculate the lambda, h we know, mass is known to us, and velocity we just calculated now. We will put the values right here. Now on solving it, we will get 8967, this is 8967 into 10 is to power minus 10 meter, right? That will be equivalent to 896.7 nanometers. So the wavelength associated with the moving electron, right, which is having the kinetic energy 3 10 to power minus 25 joule, is 896.7 nanometer.